Casual Game Rolls, we're in Singapore in Season 9 of F1 2017. Let's get straight into this. Never qualified on pole here, only ever qualified in 4th. That is our best ever qualifying here. Did win here, of course, for the very first time last season. I'm expecting the Red Bulls to be very strong here. If that is how the game wants to make out that they are the best in the field, then they should be the best here in Singapore in terms of the overall package. But I would love to get a pole position here. Again, as I said, never gotten one here before, but it's a circuit that I'm not exactly perfect at, unfortunately. So we'll see how we can do, of course, here in Singapore. We've won the last 3 Grand Prix after we retired from the first 10. Well, retired from 9, disqualified from 1. So our late splurge into championship contention is still going on. We're actually aiming for top 5 to be precise, considering that we know we're not going to win the championship, but we're going to see how far we can end up making it up the order. As be interesting to see just how far we can get. Top 3, of course, is technically where we need to finish in terms of a Ferrari request from the team. But in terms of realistic option, I don't know if we can actually get top 3. But top 5, I think, definitely achievable. As right now we're on for top 5 at this race. I want us to be top 4, which is where, of course, we've qualified the last 2 seasons. If we can hold on here, we might actually sneak on the pole. I think we've done it. We have. Wow. Our first ever pole position here in Singapore, our 10th of the year, and our 37th career pole position. Boom shakalaka. Was not expecting that. Alright. It's a good feeling. Now we've just got to hold on in race trim and aim for our 44th race victory, career race victory. Hopefully. I'm not going to try and take anyone out the first corner. It's not the circuit to do that, because you damage your front wing here, you're all but well and truly fucked. It's a difficult one to do with front wing damage. We'd like to have a good race so we can cross over that 1050 threshold, so we can then find ourselves with an upgrade. Which, I mean, really doesn't count for much considering we've only got 1 more season to go, but hey, whatever. We're going to at least try. If we win here and win in Malaysia, and win 5 in a row, we can sneak one through in Japan, which, look, last year, you know, we were on for recovering through the field when I binned it, but, you know, I feel we can win Japan. I've just got a bit of an inkling, bit of a feeling, bit of an inkling. This is gonna be one of those days. This is a show all about me. Let all you Lionel Woodley fans out there. Alrighty, Singapore. Let's do this. Not gonna even put it on rich mode. We're just gonna drive ourselves into standard. And Vettel, very racy off the start line. We're gonna cut across in there to take the lead around the outside, just like that. And boom, we take the lead back in Singapore. And hopefully this is a standard race where we don't take ourselves out, because really from this point on it's only ourselves to blame should we fuck up. Because we have nobody to race except ourselves. It's that simple. Hit your braking spots perfectly. Take your apexes perfectly. And you will have a perfectly perfect race result. Make sense? Makes sense to me. Alright. Then. Bridge section always is a little bit of a duck. Which I've never noticed that building there in the distance. It looks really cool, all the lights on. Anyway then, pay attention to the track. Don't pay attention to what's outside the track. That's where you find yourself making mistakes. You're not pulling away as much as you would like to here, but you also not necessarily having Vettel all over your bumhole. You're kind of just in a standard spot at the moment, which is good. And we know Vettel very racy around here. Obviously, him finishing second to us wouldn't be ideal for the overall championship, but to catch Hamilton in 5th would take 10 points out of him, which would be a good idea to do. And Ricciardo, though, would be losing a lot of ground in the championship, as he would not be in the top 3, whereas Vettel, his chief rival, would be. So it looks like Vettel really is in the box seat to get this championship back, which he hasn't won since I've been at Ferrari. He hasn't won it in a few seasons. I won, what, seasons 6 and 8. Hamilton won 7 because I cost Paul Vettel. He hasn't actually won it since season 5. So there you go. Bit of stats there for those following it outside of myself winning the championship. It won't be Ricciardo at this rate, which is kind of sucky that another Australian can't take it. And back-to-back Aussie winners. Oh. Over the bridge. It's that fancy building. Alright, good start here. Still only lap 2, long way to go. And you're really crossing the half distance now. Plenty of time for me to pull a bend. The grip though is fantastic there when I slide myself out of a corner, unlike what it used to be like in the Toro Rosso days. I think that would have definitely slid me into the wall back then. Cut a bit of a curb there. Not the best feeling in the world. We push ourselves now. Let's put into rich mode. Get a bit of space going through here. Whoa, Ben, careful, careful, careful. Don't want to get yourself a penalty because I don't think you're quite 2 seconds ahead of Seb. You also don't want to damage the front wing because that is really going to hurt your chances here. Because this is a bitch of a circuit to drive around with a damaged front wing. I remember in one of the other career modes on one of the early ones, I would always tend to get damaged front wings here, and then Racing Sam, my friend, when there's split screen back in F 2011, F1 2011. Yeah, I would always get a damaged front wing whenever I raced him, and it was a pain in the butt. Absolute pain in the butt. Oh, a little bit scarily close to the wall there. Oh, pushing it slightly wide. How's our fuel looking? I think we should be good for the rest of the race. Interesting, we actually haven't changed our engine once this year. But I think that really does come down to the fact that we had 10 DNFs. So basically our engine's only kind of got 1 lap use out of it during qualifying. So don't really need to keep an eye on that sort of stuff just at the moment, at least for the time being. Wonder how this would fare in the real world F1, as I said a couple of rounds ago. Driver retires from 10 Grand Prix in a row and then wins 3 in a row and aims for his 4th. Be a very interesting comeback story there, wouldn't it, to see if an actual driver could do that and try and put himself up into championship contention, which, I mean, I'm not going to, but at least, you know, win a large portion of the second half of the year's Grand Prix and find out if you can get yourself up to the pointy end of the championship, which again would be convenient if we can. We're just going to see how we roll with that. We get past Singapore here. It's only really Japan that stands in our way in terms of circuits that we don't do well at. I know Malaysia, we've technically only won it once, the same with Abu Dhabi, but there's not circuits that I dislike, and I generally find that reasons why we haven't done well in the past is because of a slow car. I've just made silly mistakes. But a decent lead here still. might just put her into standard. Better safe than sorry, of course. And I mean, we definitely have the fuel in the tank, but again, it's a safety mode that we just want to implement, just in case something drastic happens. So we start our final lap now in Singapore. It is our final lap, Jeffrey. Barring disaster, it'll be our 4th win in a row to ignite our championship. This is what should have been happening from the very first race of the year, and not the midpoint of the season. But that's life. I do love how this ends and you see the fireworks go off as you cross the line. It does look epic. It's a bit distracting if you're not the car that finishes first. I'll tell you that. And you got it going on in the distance when you're trying to concentrate in the last few corners. But if you're the first driver, it does look awesome. And hopefully we're about to see that happen in just a few moments' time. If we can navigate the bridge. Say goodbye to the fancy building. That's Cousin Johnny's holiday complex. He likes to leave Belgium and go for a little bit of a tour to exotic Singapore at this beautiful looking circuit. At least that's what I like to tell myself. Not really, but whoa, big slide there. Pushing ourselves forward. Getting under the tunnel for the one last time. Should be home and hose now, folks. There should be nothing standing in our way. So we've got one more corner to go. Get ready for the fireworks. Here they come. Here they come. Oh, look at that. Singapore. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Our 44th career victory. And what a time to do it. That was always going to be a tricky one. If we can do that in Japan, then it will be a very good feeling indeed.
Out onto the podium. Wherever you go, anywhere in the world, the prancing horse flags are dominant in the grandstand.
Happy Ferrari boys there. Now, how are we looking in the standings now? We move up to 7th. And we now are 43 points off 5th. It's Verstappen now in 5th. We're 111 points off the championship. Ricciardo's now 17 points. And constructors, well, we are closing in on the constructors. That should be ours. And Red Bull are the ones who are starting to fall behind in that little race now. But we're off to Malaysia next, of course. And we will see how we can go there. As I yawn. Excuse me. Oh, nearly on the 1050. We're 10 points. Oh, should we get 10 points here for us? We do. Yeah, okay. So we will have the ability to put an upgrade in. That's good. Cool. Yep. Yep. Cool. Let's just quickly whack this update in before we head off. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment on our videos, folks. We're going to put this one in. It's going to be in by Mexico. Done. Alright, thanks for tuning in. We'll speak to you in Malaysia. Good night.